The last 5 years I've been pretty much set up across the border in Suffolk at Ashley Equestrian Centre teaching, and it's great to be back in the county of my birth and where I spent much of my time teaching and learning freelance for many years before we set Ashley Equestrian Centre up. And it's wonderful to see there's some friendly and familiar faces out there. Many of you I know already make regular trips to Ashley, for which I'm very, very grateful. I'm sure that this evening there will be some revision and consolidation for those of you that have worked with me over time, but I assure you that there'll be some new and interesting stuff for us to discuss and think about as well. I'm also delighted that there are some new and less familiar faces. One of my hopes over the period of these demos that we've been running, this being the third of 4, is that in meeting some new people and perhaps people who are less familiar with my work or might even be sceptical about the things that I do, that I will be kind of challenged by some of the questions and some of the observations that are made. Certainly that's what has happened so far, and that's been a big part of my learning generally. In fact, earlier on today, I met a young lady called Holly and her mum who popped up to the yard to discuss some training, and they said to me, "So, how was it that you ended up running a place like Ashley?" And I explained to them that it pretty much came about because of the horses and the people that I've met over the years. It occurred to me that a lot of the things that I was doing and saying, a lot of the things that were being said to me, weren't necessarily things that made sort of tangible and lasting differences. And probably like many of you, was completely pony mad as a kid. Didn't come from a particularly horsey background, but through sufficient pester power managed to get weekly riding lessons, and eventually a pony on loan, and then a pony of my own. Amber was quite an interesting pony, wasn't she, Katie? She had 2 paces, one was Holt, the other was Gallop. Both of us were fine so long as we went everywhere, very fast and sideways. But she taught me lots. But in my late teens, I kind of went off ponies for a while, and it was when I turned 20 that I got sort of back into them and decided I'm going to make horses my career and my life. And so I spent the next couple of years building up the confidence and the qualifications to run my own business, and ran a small livery yard. And eventually that business sort of evolved into a very busy sort of freelance teaching. And I spent many years teaching and receiving lessons that went along the lines of relax, stretch your legs down, open your hips, use your back, make him rounder, ride more impulsively, ride from your inside leg into your outside hand. Any of you familiar with those terms? And it occurred to me that so was pretty much everyone I taught. They already knew that stuff. They read the same books as I had, they probably trained with the same people I had, they might even have been working with the same exams that I had. And yet, again, they didn't really seem to be those stock instructions, the difference that made the difference. And yet it was clear to me there are plenty of people out there who have a special gift, what maybe we could define as the X factor, if you like. And I became sort of somewhat obsessed with trying to establish what made them special. What was it that they had? And I decided that I wanted to work it out for myself and for my own riding, and also that if I wasn't going to irritate the people that I taught as much as I was irritating myself, I better work out how to teach it as well. And in learning more about sort of biomechanics, one of the things that I wasn't expecting to happen was that the stuff that I'd just been living with all of my adult life, as in a very sore back and intermittently sore knees and various sort of aches and pains and grumps and groans, that I kind of thought were just part of the course. If you fall off horses and you carry bears and hay around and you unload sacks of feed and that sort of thing. And yet those things started to go as well, which was a sort of happy byproduct of what I can only guess is using my body more correctly. And so, of course, then I would question too, what impact does using your body and your horse using its body have on its long-term soundness as well. And so I guess it's become my obsession, if you like, to work towards long-term soundness. And by long-term soundness, I mean long-term soundness for your horse, but also for you. And by long-term soundness, I also mean emotional long-term soundness as well as physical long-term soundness. Because as I was saying to Holly and her mother earlier today, I met plenty of horses and plenty of people who were struggling with those issues. And I feel much more sort of able to cope and much more equipped with those sorts of issues